And welcome back. What a strange housing market we have right now. Get this, there's approximately 600,000 fewer homes for sale nationwide compared to the average May in 2017 through 2019. This is because a lot of homeowners do not want to give up their very low rates, therefore they're reluctant to sell their houses. This is causing the number of new listings to fall by 29% compared to pre-COVID levels. Homes are also taking longer to sell compared to the past couple of years, but they're still selling faster on average compared to 2017 through 2019 at this time. And even with a decrease in home buying demand compared to the past couple of years, the market feels competitive in many areas due to the scarcity of houses for sale. So in today's video, I'm going to share a brand new report from Realtor.com that was just announced on June 1st, which actually covers the entire month of May. I actually really like this because this is actually the first report I've seen which does cover the month of May. So for example, most companies such as the National Association of Realtors won't publish their May's numbers for another 3 weeks. And just a couple of days ago, CoreLogic announced a new housing market update for home prices for the month of March. So in today's housing market update, I'm going to share the latest housing market trends for the month of May regarding home prices, housing inventory, pending home sales, and of course, much, much more. And actually really like this report. This is not a sponsored video, but I like this report here because they share numbers going back to 2017. Therefore, we look at numbers in 2017, 18, and 19, which is obviously pre-pandemic levels to kind of gauge the level of activity in our housing market this year compared to those years. So, of course, I have a lot to share. Let's go ahead and dive right in. So according to Realtor.com, there's approximately 21.5% more homes for sale nationwide this May compared to May of 2022. However, this is a big however, we still have a lack of houses for sale, historically speaking though. It says, however, the inventory growth rate for homes actively for sale continued to slow for the third month in a row as fewer potential sellers opted to list their houses for sale. So here's a chart showing the number of houses for sale this May compared to previous years going back to 2017. Again, I really like this because Redfin, for example, only shares data going back to 2020, which is obviously post-COVID levels, right? So for the month of May, there's 582,000 homes for sale, an increase of 21.5% from 2022, which is this light orangish line right here. Also, we have more homes for sale compared to 2021, as you can see right here. When looking at 2017 though, 2019 as well as 2018 right here, during those years, there's around 1.2 million homes for sale. Now there's only 582,000. This means, of course, we're missing approximately 600,000 houses for sale compared to pre-COVID levels, which is obviously a very big problem, especially given the fact that inventory levels have been relatively flat all year. We also have fewer homes for sale right now compared to January of this year, which is entirely abnormal because look at 2019, for example. To start the year, they had 1.1 million, but by the time we hit May of 2019, there was approximately 1.15 million. Also, look at the previous month's report here. This is for the month of April right here, and here's May. So in April, we saw a 48.3% increase in the number of houses for sale, whereas this May, an only increase of 21.5%. Also, look at April. In April, 564,000 houses for sale, and now fast forward 1 month, only 582,000, a small increase of 3% month over month. And one of the main reasons why we're seeing historically low inventory levels is this right here. In May, the number of newly listed houses decreased by 22.7% compared to May of 2022. However, though, it remained 29.4% below pre-pandemic levels in 2017 to 2019. In fact, the pace of new listings was even lower than in May of 2020, when the real estate market was basically frozen due to COVID lockdowns. So this is absolutely crazy because look at this right here. New listings right now, 406,000, or let's just say just under 407,000. Back in May of 2020, there was 450,000. That says a lot, right? Because back in April, we had more or less COVID lockdowns across much of the entire United States, or much across most of the United States. And in May was just after COVID lockdowns where there was a lot of uncertainty regarding our economy and of course our US housing market as well. So 450,000 in May 2020 and below that at 407,000 this May. This means that the levels right now at 407,000 is actually below levels in 2022 through 2019. So for example, back in May of 2022, 1 year ago, 525,000 newly listed houses for sale. Now there's less than 407,000. And this, of course, is one of the main reasons why inventory levels have been actually going down overall this year. Okay, let's change gears slightly here and talk about pending home sales, a measure of contracts being signed between buyers and sellers. So pending home sales decreased by 18.1% compared to 12 months ago. This is slightly lower than April's 22.5% decrease though. So this year, or this May, down by 18%, but the previous month, which was April, down by 22.5%. Also, this is an improvement on December's giant decrease of 36.9% year over year. According to Realtor.com, this stabilization and improvement in pending home sales, it's kind of funny to talk about this improvement, even though it's still down by 18% year over year. But yes, down, not down as much compared to the 37% decrease they saw in December. Anyways, this stabilization and improvement in pending home sales could suggest that the number of home sale transactions has bottomed out and is making a slow and bumpy recovery. Time will tell, of course, and I'll definitely keep you posted. Realtor.com also reported out of the 4 major US regions, there was no region that saw an increase of houses being listed for sale in May compared to 1 year ago. So all 4 major regions in the US saw a decrease of new listings compared to 12 months ago. Also, housing inventory, a measure of the number of homes for sale, a decrease in 21 out of the 50 largest US metros compared to last year. In contrast, the metros that did see an increase in the number of homes for sale, leading the nation was Nashville, Tennessee, a gain of almost 125% year over year, followed by Austin, Texas, an increase of 112%, and then San Antonio, Texas saw an increase of 93.4%. However, despite high inventory growth compared to last year, most southern metros still had a lower level of inventory compared to pre-pandemic levels. In fact, only Austin, Texas, which saw a gain of 2.8%, saw higher levels of inventory in May compared to the average 2017 to 2019's levels. So let me repeat that. There's only one metro that they tracked that reported an increase in the number of homes for sale compared to pre-pandemic levels, and that was Austin, Texas, a gain of 2.8%. In addition, in May, none of the 50 largest metros saw an increase of new listings compared to the previous year. Therefore, every single metro recorded a decrease of new listings. In regards to how fast or how slow houses are selling right now, the typical home spent 43 days on the market this May, which is about 2 weeks longer compared to May of 2022. However, though, houses sold about 9 days faster compared to the average May from 2017 to 2019. So in other words, houses taking about 2 weeks longer to sell compared to last year, but still selling about 9 days faster compared to the past several years here. And you can see that right here, which I'll share right there. So right now, 43 days on the market, 14 days longer compared to 2022. Also still selling slower compared to 21 right here, but still selling faster compared to 2017 through 2020. So for example, back in 2017, days in the market was around 55 days, but this May it's at 43 days. In regards to home prices, for whatever reason, Realtor.com only discusses asking prices and not closed home sales. In any case, it says the national median list price, these are asking prices of homeowners listing their homes for sale, was $441,000 this May, up from $430,000 in April. But this is still down from the all-time record high of $449,000 that was set in June of last year. And you can see this right here because this year asking prices were increasing, but not the same rate of 2022. We're actually getting very close to negative growth right here. But asking prices were absolutely skyrocketing through June last year, and then of course fell greatly after that. Of course, having said that, even though we're very close to last year's levels, they're still well above the past several years here. That's because when looking at asking prices back in May of 2017 at approximately $280,000, this means ever since May of 2017, asking prices have increased by about 58%. Two things come to mind when I think about this. I think of a lack of housing affordability and not sustainable. So before I share some metros in which home prices have been decreasing the most and also increasing the most, as well as some other trends as well, I want to share this with you as well. These are regional stats compared to 1 year ago for each of the four major regions here: the Midwest, the Northeast, the South, and the West. So this is year-over-year changes, May 2022 compared to this May. So as you can see right here, new listings had decreased by over 20% in each of these metros right here. And also active listings are actually up by 54.4% in the South, whereas the Northeast fell by 8.5%, and the West saw a decrease of 5.2%. Every real estate market is different, right? Real estate is local. Also, asking prices only increased by 1.8% in the South, whereas the Northeast increased by 11.1%. Big increases in the Northeast there. They also looked at what was the changes compared to the average May of 2017 through 2019 here. Very, very big differences here. So active listing count, this is the number of homes for sale compared to pre-pandemic levels. Giant decreases of at least 37%. The biggest decrease was actually in the Northeast, falling nearly 62%. That was followed closely by the Midwest, down by nearly 55%. New listings also decreasing big time as well, down over 23% in each of these four major regions as well. But asking prices increasing by more than 30%. In fact, the biggest increase was actually in the West, a gain of 38.1%. Now, speaking of the West, this is the only region in which houses are taking longer to sell compared to pre-pandemic levels, because houses on average are selling for about 3 days longer, whereas the Midwest, the Northeast, and the South are still selling faster. In fact, in the Northeast, houses are selling for about 11 days faster compared to 3 days longer in the West. Realtor.com also provided some stats regarding some select metros in the US. In fact, the 50 largest metros in the US. So Austin, Texas, or the greater Austin area, asking prices decreased by 7.3% compared to May of 2022. In fact, this is the biggest decrease of the 50 largest metros. And of course, a giant increase of housing supply, a gain of 112.5%. And of course, I'm not going to go over every single metro in today's video, otherwise this video would be 13 hours long. Instead, I'll share a link to this article in the video description below if you guys want to take a look at that. So if you guys all know, I always say how real estate is local, right? So the Austin Round Rock area down 7.3%, whereas Boston, Massachusetts, a gain of 14.5% year over year. Also, Cincinnati, Ohio, saw a gain of 19.9%. That's actually the biggest gain out of these 50 largest metros on a year-over-year basis. Columbus, Ohio also saw a big increase of 12.8%. Also, big gain in Hartford, Connecticut, gain of 17.2%, whereas Dallas, Texas saw a decrease of 1.4% and giant increase of housing supply, increasing by 63%. In contrast, in Houston, Texas, they saw a decrease of asking prices, down by 5.9%. Kansas City saw an increase of 15.7%, whereas Jacksonville, Florida, decreased by 0.4%, and they saw an increase of 67.5% in the number of homes for sale. Los Angeles saw a gain of 15.8% in asking prices, and also in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, saw a gain of 16.3%. Also, as I mentioned before, Nashville, Tennessee saw a surge of inventory, a gain of 125% year over year. Whereas Raleigh, North Carolina saw an increase of 73%. In contrast, in Sacramento, or the greater Sacramento area where I live, is a decrease of 27.3%, whereas San Antonio, Texas saw a gain of 93%. And lastly, in the Silicon Valley in California, inventory levels decreased by 35.3%, whereas asking prices only increased by 2.2%. I would love to hear from you guys. What's your biggest takeaway from today's video? Mine is the fact that inventory has not been increasing. A very small increase of 3% compared to April's numbers, but still down year to date, and also down by about 600,000 fewer homes for sale compared to pre-pandemic levels, which is obviously making it feel like some markets are still very competitive. But what's your biggest takeaway? Please leave me a comment below. I appreciate you. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and look forward to seeing you on the next video.